Good morning, this is Gabriel Raam speaking, and I'm continuing my series of interpretations for the Book of the Tao by Lao Tse. This is verse 14. Okay. Look, it cannot be seen. It is beyond form. Listen, it cannot be heard. It is beyond sound. Grasp, it cannot be held. It is intangible. These three are indefinable. Therefore, they are joined in one. From above, it is not bright. From below, it is not dark. An unbroken thread beyond description. It returns to nothingness. The form of the formless, the image of the imageless. It is called indefinable and beyond imagination. Stand before it and there is no beginning. Follow it and there is no end. Stay with the ancient Tao. Move with the present. Knowing the ancient beginning is the essence of the Tao. Alright. I'll try to relate to the text. Basically, we rely very much on our senses, what we perceive by our senses, and on our logic. We rely upon them. And then we respond from our emotions, mostly. When we perceive the world, there is the apparent phenomena which we perceive by our senses, which we explain by our logic. Logic, I want to explain, is basically the current programming which we have been programmed by elders in society according to existing norms. And this has got basically nothing to do with the real world. It's to do with what people explain to themselves about the world in order to feel at ease, basically, with what they don't understand. I think Zen Buddhism, which is a development of the Tao, and quantum physics are very brave in that they break the crust of logic, or try to break the crust of logic. As for the senses and our perception, there is a field in philosophy called phenomenology, which Edmund Husserl developed, which says basically what we perceive is very much imperfect and very much twisted according to our subjective way of wanting to look at things and according to dictations of the norms. And in NLP there is the sentence, the world is not the map and the map is not the world.
Yes.
And basically our perception is a map, but it's not the world.
Yes.
So what I think he's trying to do here is to break our normal perception and our addiction to what we think is reality. And basically what he's saying here, the reality is beyond your ability to perceive it.
Oh, okay.
And let's look at what is written according to that. He's basically trying to bring us to the point when we say, well, what I see is not reality. What I perceive is my subjective interpretation. And I know nothing, understand nothing, perceive nothing, and what I do is contradictory of what is real.
Yes.
So he's saying the first sentence, look. So you look. Then he says, it cannot be seen. It is beyond form. So immediately you are in great trouble, because the only way for you to see is the way you see, but you see something which cannot be seen, you see something which is beyond form, so what's the point of having eyes? What's the point of having a seeing? So the main window of perception is useless in relation to something he calls it,
Yes.
which is supposed to be seen, but we have got no way to see it because it's formless.
Yes.
So it's not because we can't see, but we can see form.
Mm-hmm.
But it has got no form. Form
Yes.
is what appears, but it's not necessarily what is.
Yes.
For example, I have a form, you have a form, but is it you? It's got a hint about you, but it's not you.
Yes.
So when I see your form, I could be blinded by your form, which could hide me what you are.
Yes.
The form has got a relation to the content. But if you relate to the form as the only existing reality, then the form can hide the being behind it.
Yes.
I think this is what he's saying. Like words. Words became the thing itself, and not as a finger pointing towards a hidden reality. The whole idea of life, the real essence of things, is hidden. But it can present itself in a form.
Mm-hmm.
But after a while, a form stopped to be an arrow towards the being and became a being for itself. This is what Jean Baudrillard calls simulcara. We live in a world of images. An image is something which is being produced by a being.
Yes.
But he's saying no. The image became the being. It replaced the being. It is the being. It's not that we lost the being. The image became the being. We actually worship the statues made of stone.
Yes.
We're in a pagan area in this sense, that the seen phenomena became the reality, and you can see it in television.
Yes.
What you perceive externally is hiding the real world.
It's
And he's saying, listen. All right. So I listen, but it cannot be heard. It is beyond sound. So you're frustrated, but all I can hear is sounds. But sounds, if you look at it as the real thing, doesn't give you anything, because what you want to hear is beyond sound. So you basically reach the limit of what you can perceive, and you should live all the time with the understanding that that our perception is limited and cannot reach to what is real. What is real is beyond our perception.
okay. It's mind-blowing.
Yeah, but it's also very, very simple. We became addicted
Yes.
to what we perceive, and it replaced what is real. The sign became instead of what it's supposed to signify.
Yes.
We worship idols.
Yes. And
Grasp. All right. So I want to understand life. I want to grasp what it is about. I bring my education, my understanding, my command of language,
yes.
the books that I read, everything. And I want to hold it, what it is all about. And he's saying, it is intangible. So he's making you frustrated.
Yes.
It's like he's saying, I have another thing which I want to give you as an example. It brings you to frustration. There was this commercial about hamburgers. Don't know if you saw it. And young person is going, and there is clouds, and there is beautiful women, and music, and everyone is eating, and saying, "Where am I?" He's saying to one of the beautiful girls. And she's saying to him, "You're in hell." Saying, "What?" And she gives him a very big juicy hamburger. And as you know this commercial?
Yes, yes.
And as he's going to give a bite, he's saying to her, "This is hell?" And then when he's going to put it to the mouth, there is a big cover covering his mouth. The hamburger is there, the mouse is there. Then she's saying to him, "This is hell." So hell in that is that the tools that you have cannot connect you to what is real. They only can connect you to the seen phenomena of what is real, and we, because this is what we can perceive, we think it's the real phenomena. This is like science. Science is very limited in only to the seen measurable impact.
Yes.
But the seen measurable impact is what we can perceive, it's not real.
It's just a hint to what is real.
Yeah, and this brings us also to the cave fable analogy of Plato, which is saying we see the shadows because this is what we can see,
Yes.
but it's not the real world.
Yes.
These three are indefinable. What he means, the three its he's talking about, which is beyond form, beyond sound, and beyond tangibility, beyond grasp, you can't define them. They're not given to definition. Now that means that we are very much slaves to definition. We want to define everything.
Yes.
What do you do, where you live, what do you know, what is your degree? And he's saying, well, if you want to connect to it, you need to forget about what you can define and about your ability. It's beyond your ability and beyond your definition.
Yes. He's telling you to let go.
At the moment he's not telling you anything, he just wants to make you frustrated.
Okay. He's doing a good job.
He wants you to let go of your dependence on your tools. And he's saying the tools that you have are good for the seen phenomena. But you know, it's like, give an example. A person is in love with a woman and he writes her an email, "I want to meet you." And then she says, "Okay, come to my flat in this hour." And then he comes and says, "Come in." And he comes to the room and he sees a beautiful picture there. And then he hears her voice, "Here I am." He says, "No, you're not here. All I get is the picture." He says, "This is what you get." So what we get is like what he gets as a picture.
Yes.
For us, we live in a flat representation of what is. And for us, the flat representation became the world, became life.
That's a flatland.
It's a flatland of Ken Wilber.
Yes.
And what we do, instead of letting go of the flat representation, we make the flat representation full of stimulation, full of excitement, full of variations. We develop the excitement of the flatland instead of trying to get somehow to what is beyond perception, or to develop our perception to perceive what is not falling into the world of phenomena. Okay, these three are definable. Then comes a curious sentence. Therefore they are joined in one. So he's saying here another thing curious. He's saying we live apparently in a multiple phenomena world. There is sounds, and there is visions, and there is tastes, and there is books, and there is movies, and there is music, and all the rest of it. And we sort of, like this person in the supermarket, we go from one thing to another, and there is another thing, and another thing, and another thing. And for us, we are blinded by the multiplicity of the apparent phenomena. And he's saying that's another problem. All these multiple phenomena are basically representing one being,
Yes.
which is beyond the multiplicity. It is the origin of the multiplicity.
Yes.
So that's basically ends the first verse within the verse. He's saying actually you've got tools, they can't reach what is real is undefinable, and the multiple phenomena hides the singular being existence. And then he goes another wave. This was the first wave, then there is another wave. The wave which is ending by the sentence, therefore they are joined in one. From above it is not bright. From below it is not dark. An unbroken thread beyond description. Now, we see things as bright and dark. We want to reach the top, above. And we think that if we go to the top, it will be bright. Now, the top for you could be very successful at your work, or being a very spiritual person, or being liked by many women. There is above and below to everyone. And the more you go above, the more it is bright. The more you go below, it is not. And basically, all our life, we go between these two things. And we believe that the more we live and learn, the more we go to the upper part where it's bright and we escape from what is dark. And he's saying an unbroken thread beyond description. He's saying that what seems to us to be bright and dark are not two different aspects, but it's all one thread.
Yes.
And we can't describe it. I suppose this could be interpreted in a different way, but basically what he's saying here, that bright and dark are limited perception, subjective perception of something which has got not two poles, dark and bright, but it's an unbroken thread.
Yes.
And anyway, he's saying, it's beyond description.
Yes.
So we're returning to the same thing. We see that and that, but what is beyond that
It's beyond description.
is beyond description. It returns to nothingness, the form of the formless, the image of the imageless. It is called indefinable and beyond imagination. So now he is starting to open the riddle. And he's saying, we are addicted to the something, and the something blinds us to the nothingness. And the real world is in nothingness. It comes from nothingness, it returns to nothingness. The form of the formless returns to the nothingness. Everything which we see as a form will return to nothingness from where it came. The images that we see will return to nothingness. And all this is indefinable and beyond imagination. All the forms, all the images. So basically he's saying everything you perceive and everything you desire and everything is pointless because it's very temporary. And it's like butter in the sun.
Okay.
It's going to melt very soon. And if you anchor yourself in what you perceive and what you see is real, you're not going to connect to anything real, because what you anchor in is going to melt very soon. So a person which is basing his life in getting the top and escaping the bottom and trying to describe things and imagine things and define things and trying to see things and to hear things and to grasp things. In the end, he's getting nothing. And this reminds me a very nice story. We've got this myth, Jewish, if you like, folk stories of the wise man of Helm. Now, Helm is, you know, you heard about it.
I read it once.
Yes. Helm is a town actually existing today in Poland, called Helm, where apparently live many Jews who thought that they are very wise, but have been very stupid. And there is this story about trying to grasp the ungraspable, which is all of us we're trying to do. Don Juan called this trying to do forms in front of the mirror. And there is this story that the people of Helm were very poor and they had no money. And then one wise man, the wise man of the village, looked in the sky and says, "See, we're all stupid. Up there is this big golden coin. If we can only catch it, it will give us a lot of money." And someone had even a brighter idea. He says, "You see, we can catch it. If we put a bucket full of water in the middle of the village at night, it will fall into the bucket. If you see, look at the bucket, you see the moon there. And the moment the moon is there, we will cover it. And in the morning, we will have this big gold coin."
Yes.
And that's what they did, and much to their surprise, they came in the morning and the bucket was empty. And they were looking to see who stole the great gold coin.
It feels like we're running after the rainbow. We're trying to catch the rainbow.
Yes. And the thing is that the people who call themselves the most sane, rational, and materialistic are the greatest shed of chasers there is. Because people who actually are millionaires, they have more nothing than everyone else. And the people who get what everyone wants, which is success and fame, and all, they have got more nothing than everyone else because they are more addicted to form.
Yes.
They're more addicted to image. All you can get in this life, at most, is image and form, which is basically a moon in a basket full of water.
Yes.
That when you get to the end of your life and you look back and you say, "Fine, I've been famous, I've been rich, I got all the women, all the men I wanted, and everyone was envy of me. But what do I have inside which makes me rich from the inside? Nothing, because all form returns to nothingness."
So, not only is frustrating you, it doesn't give you a substitute. It doesn't give you something to cling to. It doesn't give you a safe house, maybe.
Well, you worship something, you put your energies on what is graspable, which is the form that hides the formless. And when you look inside, you see that there is nothing. Now, when you look inside and you see nothing, you get so frightened. Then you run away to worship even more the form, in the hope that it will make you forget that inside you've got nothing. And there is a group confirmation in this, because you see other people running after the same forms.
Yes.
And you think, maybe I've got nothing, but they see that they've got something.
Yes.
And they keep chasing it. Stand before it, and there is no beginning. Follow it, there is no end. So this is basically sentences that saying, okay, I frustrated you, but listen, let me explain. Leave all this running and chasing and trying to grasp. Stand. Stand before it, whatever it is. Be quiet. Stop running. Stop going to courses and running from one guru to another. Just stand still in your life. And when you do, you stand in front of something which has got no beginning. Yes, he says stand in front of it. And the form evaporates. There is no form if you stand still. Because he's saying stand before it and there is no beginning. So there is no top, bottom, no beginning and end. There is something which is. And when you stand, you can follow it. And when you follow it, there is no end. So he's recommending us to stand still and not to run after something. And then if you stand still, you will follow it.
Yes.
And he's saying, if you don't understand what I'm saying, I'll say it again.
No.
He's saying to the reader, if you don't understand what I'm saying, I'll say it again. Stay with the ancient Tao. Stop running, he's saying. Just stay. And if you do, you move with the present. So, what you need to do is saying to you, is just be quiet inside and stay where you are, and then the Tao will take you and you will move with the present. If you go nowhere, you will go somewhere. And this reminds me, this beginning of the book of Eric Kästner, 35 in May, 35th day in May, where he says, I wanted the moves, I wanted to, you know this story, I wanted something to give me an idea what to write. And I realized that if I run after the moves, it runs away from me, and I've got no idea. So I laid in my room on the floor, on the carpet, and I pretended that I'm not interested. Then the moose opened the door, sort of sneaks in. You know that?
I remember you told me.
Yes, and it's going around, and you're completely non-interested. And then when it's very near, you hold it by the scruff of the neck, and you've got it. And he's saying, if we stay still, then we move with everything. We basically are too anxious, too excited, full too much with aspirations, and worship what is seen and what is perceptible, which is hiding what is there. If we just give up in the right way, not in the wrong way,
yes,
and give up in that and saying, I don't mind. What will be, I'm not going anywhere. See, we are mistaken. We think that we are a bus. We're not a bus, we're a bus station.
I understand.
And if you think you're a bus, the bus comes and you're not at the station.
Yes.
But if you stay at the station, the bus of life will come. See, buses of life come, but no one is in the station because everyone is trying to be a bus.
Yes.
We are trying to get it because all our education tells us, be a go-getter. Life is not waiting for you.
Yes.
If you do not run after it, nothing will come to you. He's saying completely the opposite. If you run after it, all you catch is the shadow and the moon in a basket.
Yes.
If you wait in the station of your life, life and the Tao will come to you. But you need to be motionless. Be a bus station. And then he ends, knowing the ancient beginning is the essence of the Tao. And the ancient beginning is nothingness. And the moment you are at peace with the fact that in the end all this is illusion, all these movements is a Maya, and it's all hiding a big nothingness. And if you melt to that idea and you yourself become nothingness and motionless, the great movement of life, which is within this nothingness, will come to you and take you to the present. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to read again the verse with the hypnotic fragmented beat to it, and with the understanding that I put in it, and maybe it will be listened to with different ears, or with the inner ears. Look, it cannot be seen, it is beyond form. Listen, it cannot be heard, it is beyond sound. Grasp, it cannot be held, it is intangible. These three are indefinable, therefore they are joined in one. From above it is not bright, from below it is not dark, an unbroken thread beyond description. It returns to nothingness. The form of the formless, the image of the imageless, it is called indefinable and beyond imagination. Stand before it and there is no beginning. Follow it and there is no end. Stay with the ancient Tao, move with the present. Knowing the ancient beginning is the essence of the Tao. I think this text is very difficult for the modern mind. It basically says to you, renounce everything which for you is life.
Yes.
The movement, the rush, the effort, the motivation, the belief that if you try more, you will get the pot of gold in the end of the rainbow. And he's giving us the Chinese essence, in that the more you run, the more you catch nothing in the wrong turn of nothingness.
Yes.
And the most difficult thing for us, modern Western people, in 2009, by the way, I didn't say the date, today is the 23rd of July 2009, the most difficult thing for us, and I said it before in the verses that I interpreted before, is not to do. We are addicted to doing and overdoing, convinced the more we do, the more we get. And he's saying to you, don't do, it cannot be done. It will be done through you if you stay still. And I think this is the message of verse number 14. Thank you for watching the interpretation of verse number 14.